My partner has been on the pill throughout our relationship, and we've been in a bit of a battle these past few weeks over having children. I categorically said that I don't want them and started using condoms for double protection. This morning, she told me that she's pregnant, and I asked how this could happen when we'd been so careful. She admitted to coming off the pill and piercing through the condoms that we have stored. I've said that I don't want this and that I'm not up for marrying into a relationship based on lies. She says she's keeping it and has already told her friends, as according to her, she'd done the test 8 weeks ago and was keeping it quiet in the hopes that I'd change my mind. I have no idea what to do here. Help. I am in England and am 29 years old. Now for an update. Firstly, thanks so much for all your comments. I didn't expect this to blow up quite so much as it did. Secondly, I want to get a few things straight as people seem to be struggling with timelines. A, my partner and I were due to get married in a few short weeks. We have had many long and involved conversations during our relationship about us both wanting to remain a child-free family over the years that we have been together. Around 2 to 3 months ago, she started to appear to change her mind, which I feel insecure and unhappy about, as it is not something that I want from life, which is why I'd booked a vasectomy through the National Health Service. I cannot afford to go private as money is very tight. Again, another reason I do not want children. B, she admitted to tampering with condoms and said that she'd come off the pill several weeks ago. At that point, prior to her saying that kids might be an option for her, we were still having intimacy, and I was under the impression that we were protected as she was on the pill. I have made no secret about how I do not want kids, and she is fully aware of my reasons behind that, which I do not have to share with strangers on the internet. C, she has shown me a test, and it confirms that she is pregnant. I have asked that she get and baby unaliving. She has refused, and I feel the trust has gone completely from our relationship. We are now in the process of canceling the engagement, which she isn't happy with at all and has said that I'm ruining her life. Now, for those people telling me to go to therapy, man up, or that I'm lying. It's great that you disagree with me, but I'd never tell you to attend therapy if your worldview differed from mine, that I should be at fault after my partner has lied to me, apparently for months, and that I'm a liar. Here are a few other things for you. 1. No, I do not like kids, and I don't like entitled parents. I see it the same as disliking dogs, cats, or birds. That is my opinion, not for everyone, and not all people have to tolerate your madness. My disinterest and lack of care towards them is one of the many reasons why it would be idiotic for me to be a father. 2. Those calling bullshit on the 21 and older wedding venue thing are just wrong. It's a stipulation of the venue we chose, nothing more and nothing less. 3. The plane incident happened several years ago. The smoking area fiasco occurred over a year ago. Colleagues bringing their newborns into work is a continued pain and just really gets my goat. Just like some people don't like Susan to eat her tuna mayo baguette, it shows a complete and utter lack of etiquette and thought by parents who are coming out in droves to tell me how wrong I am about their decision. We'll provide updates as and when I get through all the comments. Be kind, people. Now for another update. I spoke to a lawyer earlier today who has advised that as we are not married, I won't automatically be added to the birth certificate. Woohoo. My ex-partner can still claim that I'm the biological father, but without my consent to a DNA test, it is unlikely to be able to prove it unless it is ordered by the court. However, as I've been coerced into this, my lawyer thinks my ex-partner and her family will back down as I have evidence. The lawyer advised that I don't waive my parental rights yet, as it would indicate that I still believe the fetus could be mine. So, I just have to bide my time and leave the country until this all blows over. The lawyer also suggested that I go self-employed, but didn't divulge the specifics. My ex-partner has admitted to coming off birth control and piercing the condoms, which she said she'd done around 3 months ago, as she knew I was due for a vasectomy early next week and thought I'd change my mind. She has refused to have an baby unaliving, which is her right, and I've refused any involvement. Has anyone been through this before and managed not to pay out? I think I've got a pretty good case. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, do not block them. Send her a text saying it was really hurtful that she went off the pill and broke the condoms without telling you. When she replies, you have it in writing. Go to the police. Save backups of the texts. Comment 2. This is very much illegal and considered intimacy attack. You should definitely break up and seek legal counsel so you don't get saddled with loads of child support. Now, for the update, I'm copying and pasting the outline to make it easier for me to follow. 2 days after the last update, I decided to stay at my apartment instead of leaving the country. I realized that I needed to deal with the situation and not run away from it. I mean, I already had enough going on without adding international travel to the mix. I started looking around my apartment like, yup, this is where I'm stuck for now. It's not that I hate my apartment, but it's definitely not going to win any interior design awards. I got a text from my partner asking to meet up at the coffee shop where we had our first date. Her message was like, hey, let's meet up at our special spot. And I was like, ugh, fine, but only if they still have those amazing blueberry muffins. I agreed, thinking it might help to have a calm conversation about the baby. I mean, who doesn't feel calm while munching on a muffin, right? When I arrived, she was already there, scrolling through her phone and looking distracted. She didn't even notice me at first, and I had to do that awkward wave to get her attention. It was like, hello, I'm here to discuss our impending doom. I asked her how she felt about the pregnancy, and she said she was excited. I thought she might be a little more hesitant, considering how much of a mess our lives were. But nope, she was ready to start planning a nursery and baby shower. I mentioned my concerns about being a father, and she dismissed them as fear of change. She said I should just embrace the new adventure. Adventure? This felt more like a trip to the DMV than an adventure. She then revealed that she had told her parents about the pregnancy. She said she couldn't keep it from them any longer. I mean, I get it, but how do you just casually drop that news? I asked how they reacted, and she said they were supportive and thrilled. So basically, now we have her parents on board with the baby. Great. We were interrupted when a couple at the next table started arguing loudly, making it hard to focus. They were going back and forth about who left the cap off the toothpaste. I mean, come on, people. It's not the end of the world. I suggested we move to a quieter place, and she agreed, but seemed annoyed. You know when your partner agrees to do something, but with that eye roll that says, you're lucky I'm even talking to you. Yeah, it was one of those moments. We walked to a nearby park, where she suggested we sit on a bench by the playground. So romantic, right? Nothing says deep conversation like watching toddlers swing. I tried to steer the conversation back to us, but she kept bringing up baby names and nursery themes. It was like I was talking about divorce lawyers, and she was talking about diaper bags. I finally snapped and told her we had different ideas about what our future should look like. I said we were on completely different pages. She shot back, saying I was being selfish for not considering her dreams. Well, her dreams were about to cost us a lot, so she better check her budget. I stood up, frustrated, and told her I needed space to think. I needed more than space. I needed a vacation. She responded by saying she would move in with her parents until the baby was born. This was becoming a family affair, and I was not ready for Thanksgiving dinner with the in-laws. That afternoon, I called my parents to explain the situation. It was like calling in the troops. My mom was shocked, and my dad was angry, saying I should have known better. My dad had a point. I should have known better than to date someone so determined. The next day, my partner texted saying she was going to a doctor's appointment and wanted me to come. I figured, what the heck? Maybe watching her get an ultrasound will bring us closer. At the appointment, I felt out of place as the doctor discussed prenatal care. I was just sitting there like, do I need to be here for this? My partner seemed in her element, excitedly asking questions about the baby's development. She was so into it, and I was just trying to remember if I had fed my cat that morning. After the appointment, she suggested we go out for lunch to celebrate. I was like, I think I have a meeting to get to, but she insisted. During lunch, she received a call from her mom, who who wanted to discuss baby showers. I excused myself to the restroom, needing a moment to breathe. I mean, how do you even plan a baby shower when the baby is still in the oven? When I got back to the table, I confronted her about the call. I said, "You realize you're making me out to be this total jerk, right?" She denied misrepresenting me, insisting she was just trying to keep the peace. Yeah, peace at my expense. I left the restaurant, deciding I couldn't keep doing this. I just needed to get out of there and figure out my life. I returned home and packed a few bags, thinking about staying at a friend's place. I was ready to hibernate until this whole mess was sorted out. The next day, I found out my partner was moving in with her parents permanently. I texted her one last time, telling her I would support her but needed to step back for now. I said I needed to figure out my own life before trying to be part of hers. She didn't reply, and I was kind of relieved. Edit. After the last update, I took some time to process everything. I realized I needed to figure out my own plans. I decided to stay at my apartment for now and just focus on myself. I called a few friends to explain the situation and get their support. They were understanding and offered to hang out to distract me from everything. I reached out to my lawyer again to discuss my options. She advised me to keep communication open with my partner, but at a distance for now. Lastly, I focused on my job and just tried to keep my life as normal as possible for the time being. Am I the idiot for calling off my engagement after my fiancé gave me brain trauma trying to save me from a spider? I am 27 years old, and my ex-fiancé is a 25-year-old woman. We had a fairly decent relationship for 5 years and planned to marry in fall 2025. We have no kids. We both have professional jobs, shared and individual interests, and our own group of friends. We probably would have had a nice life together. I've always known about her excessive and over-the-top fear of insects, especially spiders and worms, and I've always done my best to be sensitive to this. Complete avoidance is impossible. One evening at a friend's house, we were sitting out on a back patio with another couple talking, roasting marshmallows, having a few beers, and enjoying a nice night. The next thing I remember is waking up in the emergency room with her crying and explaining what had happened. She saw a non-venomous spider on my forehead that I was not even aware of and freaked out. She picked up a cheap metal container that held a citronella candle and proceeded to hit my forehead, she thinks 5 times, until she was sure the spider was gone. The result was 8 staples, internal brain trauma, and second-degree burns all over my face. It's been 6 months since this happened, and the burn scars are still slightly visible. I could tell that she genuinely felt bad, and after a couple of days of rest, I really felt bad for her too. I didn't want to see her feeling guilty for her compulsion, but at the same time, after thinking and talking to friends, I decided it was best to call off the engagement. I explained that I really didn't blame her, and also that I didn't want her to blame herself for my injuries, but that I personally didn't want to go through another situation like that again. A few days later, after failing to convince me to change my mind, she left, and I haven't heard from her since. It's been 6 months since the event, and of course I miss her, but I'm wondering if I was wrong here. She had freaked out in the past when insects had scared her, but never to the point of harming anyone. She wasn't able to explain why she had reacted like this. She was not drunk, and the people whose house we were at were very close friends. I really don't understand, but it has caused lasting damage to me. To add, I've had and responded to several questions about my friends. Rather than keep responding one-off, I'll add the edit here. I largely didn't include anything about them above because they couldn't do much. My longtime friend, the guy, was the one who took the candle from her, and his wife called 911. I was sitting next to my ex, and the other couple was directly across the fire pit. According to my friend, it happened fast and unexpectedly. It sounds like the paramedics were there within less than 10 minutes after it happened. Neither of them remember seeing a spider or any other bug, and both said that my ex was freaked out when she saw what she'd done to me, almost as if she didn't remember. But she did remember because she told me the story in the hospital. In any event, the guy is the one who strongly supported me when I decided to leave her. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. The fact that she is capable of that kind of extreme, irrational violence and isn't taking serious steps, up to and including seclusion and hospitalization, to treat it means no one is safe with her. There is a point where a phobia is no longer innocent and becomes a form of psychopathology, and she crossed it the first time she hit you with the citronella candle. The other 4 blows were just additional degrees of pathology. To be honest, the fear of insects might just be a cover story for some kind of psychosis. You are not the jerk, and lucky you left when you did, though I'm sorry you didn't get away before she caused you that much harm. Comment 2. There is a Buddhist story in which a man is annoyed by bugs buzzing around his face while he is trying to work. He asks his young and foolish son to deal with the bugs, so the boy gets a hatchet and swings it, hitting the bug but also ending the life of the father. This story reminded me of that. Your ex's good intentions don't change the fact that she is a danger to the people around her. You are not the jerk. Now, for the update. A few days after the incident, I went back to work for the first time since the injury. My boss organized a little welcome back lunch. It was nothing fancy, just a small gathering with the team and a few close friends. But honestly, it meant a lot. Everyone was super supportive, and I could tell they were all just trying to make me feel comfortable. I really appreciated it. During lunch, my coworker Sam casually mentioned that he had seen my ex-fiancée Clara around town. He didn't say much, just that he'd spotted her at a coffee shop and she looked good. I mean, obviously she's not rotting away or something. But then Sam dropped this other news. Apparently Clara had been spending a lot of time with a new guy who seemed really close to her. Like, close. I didn't want to hear this, but I guess I had to know, right? Like a week later, out of nowhere, I got a message from my sister. She was inviting me to our family's Thanksgiving dinner. I was kind of surprised because I hadn't really been around for family stuff since the incident. But she said it would be a good chance to catch up with everyone. Then she hit me with this. Clara would be there too, since she was still close with our parents. I was like, of course she is. I thought about it for a couple of days and then decided to go. I figured it might be good to face the whole situation head on, even if it was going to be super awkward. So, the day of the dinner came, and the atmosphere was just as tense as I expected. Everyone was trying to make small talk, but you could tell it was forced. Clara arrived late, which I think was on purpose. She looked nervous but composed. The first thing she did was make immediate eye contact with me. It was like we were the only ones in the room. We exchanged these super awkward hellos, and I noticed her new boyfriend standing right next to her. She introduced him as Jake, like she was trying to emphasize their relationship or something. The rest of the night, she avoided any deep conversations with me, sticking to surface topics. I tried to ask her about some stuff, but she kept looking at Jake instead of focusing on me. At one point, her mom brought up our broken engagement. I was so uncomfortable, and I could tell Clara was too. She quickly changed the subject, but the tension was just hanging in the air, you know? It was so uncomfortable. After dinner, I excused myself to the bathroom because I just needed a moment to breathe. While I was in the hallway, I overheard Clara and Jake talking in a hushed tone. I felt like a total creep, but I couldn't help it. Jake was reassuring her that she deserved to be happy and shouldn't dwell on what happened. When I returned to the main room, I found Clara and Jake laughing together. It hit me hard, man. Later, I tried to engage Clara in a conversation, asking how she had been. She replied politely but seemed so distracted. I finally decided to step away, feeling overshadowed by the new relationship. As I was leaving, I overheard Clara telling Jake about the incident that led to our breakup, laughing lightly about it. That just ended the life of me. The next day, my mom called to ask if I was okay after the dinner. She mentioned that Clara looked happy, which just deepened my frustration. I was like, of course she does. A week later, I learned through a family group chat that Clara and Jake had gotten engaged. I was just blindsided. I mean, they had only been together for a few months. How does that even happen? Everyone in the family was super excited, but I just felt left out. It was like, okay, cool. A month later, Clara sent me a text asking if we could meet up to talk. I was hesitant but agreed. thinking maybe there would be some closure or something. So we met up, and she expressed her desire to maintain a friendship but emphasized her commitment to Jake. I just felt so manipulated at that moment. She kept referencing our past relationship, almost like it was a game to her. It was like she wanted to keep me around but wasn't willing to give anything real. Edit. I realized that I didn't mention why I agreed to meet Clara again. It was because my therapist suggested it might help me find closure. I was open to anything that could help me move on. But honestly, the meeting just left me feeling worse. Clara kept bringing up our old memories, and it felt like she was trying to test the waters for something more. I told her that I didn't think a friendship was possible, given everything that happened. She seemed disappointed, but didn't push it. After that, things got a bit quieter. Clara didn't reach out again, and I felt a sense of relief. Then, about a month later, I got an invitation to her wedding. I didn't know how to react. I felt like I was being asked to watch something that should have been mine. I didn't respond to the invitation, just left it hanging. I discussed it with my therapist, and we agreed I shouldn't put myself through that. Am I the idiot for exposing my husband's secret hotel stay and moving out while pregnant? I, a 26-year-old female, and my husband Alex, a 27-year-old male, have been married for a year. Recently, I found out I was pregnant. This was not planned. Ever since we got married, we have not been using protection every time we got intimate, and I'm currently not on any birth control. My guess is that I am only a few weeks along. I haven't seen a doctor yet. Anyway, I told him when he got back home from work yesterday. I was personally very happy about it because I've always wanted to be a mom. I was pretty sure I was all smiles when I told him, and I thought he would be too once he found out the news. Let me add that he has been neutral on having kids. My assumption was wrong. Immediately, he got super upset and asked how in the world this could happen. I explained to him that while it was sudden, we hadn't been using protection every time, so it wasn't that surprising. I thought he would have understood. For some reason, he didn't. After a few minutes of back and forth, he demanded a paternity test and told me there was no way it was his. I was hurt and insulted. Let me be very clear that I did not and will never cheat on my husband. I have also never given him any reason to be suspicious about me cheating on him either. I was so taken aback that he doubted my loyalty enough to ask for a paternity test. I told him I couldn't believe he was seriously asking me for that. He said that I wasn't helping my case and that if I had nothing to hide, then I would take the test and prove my loyalty to him. I honestly can't remember all that I said, but I ended up saying something along the lines of, "If you're doubting me and my loyalty so much that you think I cheated on you and got pregnant with someone else's baby, then I don't think I want one with you anymore. I don't want to be tied to someone who clearly doesn't trust me." He blew up at me and accused me of cheating once again. It was a big argument, and he said I was being inconsiderate, dismissing his concerns and saying that asking for a paternity test was valid. In the end, I agreed to the test, but said that I stood by my words. I had to highlight that because some people are saying that I didn't agree to it when I very much did. We haven't spoken since the argument, and he is currently at work. I went to my friend for advice, and she said that while he was out of line for accusing me of cheating, I shouldn't have said that to him over one of his valid concerns, and that clearly he had a reason to feel that way about the situation. I cannot fathom what made him feel like I was cheating on him. I was just so hurt that he would insult me like that and accuse me of doing something so disgusting when I thought we were supposed to have trust in each other. But am I the one at fault for saying what I did? To add, a lot of people are suggesting he got a secret vasectomy that failed, and that did cross my mind. During the argument, I did ask if he got a vasectomy or was infertile, and that's why the baby couldn't be his, but he dismissed that and continued saying it just couldn't be his, without providing me a solid reason. So in that regard, I have really no idea what to say. I almost forgot. I feel I should elaborate on the neutral about kids part. I told him while we were still just dating that no kids was a deal breaker for me. He said that was fine because his stance on it was that if we ever have kids, it's fine. If something happens and we don't, it's fine. I'm calling that neutral since I don't know what else to call it. So when I told him I was pregnant, I thought he would be fine with it, like he said, but apparently he just changed his mind about that and didn't tell me. And also, I have no issues with men wanting paternity tests. I just had an issue with him blatantly accusing me of being a cheater with no solid proof to back it up. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I'm not saying he's definitely cheating, but people who cheat are pretty likely to project onto their partners and accuse them of cheating out of guilt or whatever. You don't want a baby with someone who doesn't believe he could be the father even after having unprotected intimacy and no reason to assume you're cheating. And unless you two get some significant couples therapy, why would you stay with someone who believes you're cheating on him? Comment 2. Get him baby unaliving, then get a divorce. That man is not a real man. He is a walking awful person. You are not the antagonist. You were very reasonable and stated a truth that is healthy and logical. Now, for the update. I'm not gonna lie. Reading all the comments on my old post really made me think about my situation with Alex. I took everyone's advice, and while I wasn't looking to fix things with Alex, I did want to know if he was being a total jerk with no reason, or if he had something in his past that made him doubt me and our marriage so much. So, about a month has passed since that argument with Alex, and I took the paternity test, which confirmed the baby is his. He seemed relieved initially, but honestly, he quickly went back to his skeptical behavior. I figured he had issues he needed to deal with, so I focused on preparing for the baby. I started organizing the nursery, picking out colors and furniture, all that good stuff. I thought maybe being involved in that process would help Alex feel more connected to the baby. But nope, that didn't work. He came home late from work more often than not, and when I tried to have deep conversations, he'd just avoid them. I also found out he had been spending time with his friends more frequently. So yeah, great communication in our marriage. One evening, I attended a family dinner at my parents' house. My mom, of course, brought up baby names, which led to this awkward silence. Like, I didn't want to talk about baby names when my husband didn't even want to be in the same room as me. After dinner, my dad pulled me aside and asked about my relationship with Alex. He could tell something was up, and I spilled a little bit of what was happening between us. He suggested having a family gathering to talk everything through. A week later, we had the family gathering at my parents' place, and guess what? Alex showed up late and seemed totally distracted. During dinner, my brother Jake jokingly asked if Alex was ready to be a dad. Alex snapped, saying he wasn't sure if he was ready for anything. The tension was super obvious. Family members exchanged concerned glances, and I could tell they were all picking up on how messed up things were between us. After dinner, I confronted Alex in the kitchen. He insisted he was under pressure and needed time to process everything. I get it, but how long is he gonna take? A few days later, I found a receipt for a hotel stay in Alex's jacket. The receipt was dated within the last couple of weeks. I confronted Alex about the hotel stay when he got home, and he claimed he was working late and needed a quiet place to think. Sure, buddy. The next day, I decided to do some digging. I discovered his phone had been receiving messages from an unknown number. The number was linked to a different area code than ours. So I reached out to the number, pretending to be someone else, because I'm not above a little deception. The person on the other end claimed to be an old friend of Alex's. This friend mentioned meeting Alex at the hotel for a catch-up. Yeah, right. Furious, I planned to confront Alex during our next family dinner. So, at the family dinner, I dropped the news about the hotel. He turned pale, trying to deny it in front of everyone. I revealed the receipts and the messages in front of my family. The shock on everyone's faces was priceless, and Alex had no excuses left. The next day, I moved out. I didn't want to deal with him anymore. I just wanted to focus on my pregnancy. I'm still processing everything. I've been through a lot, and now all I want to do is focus on my baby. I didn't think I'd have to deal with this crap while pregnant, you know? But here we are. I'm trying to keep it together for my kid, but it's hard. I know moving out was the right choice, but now I'm just figuring out the next steps. More stuff to think about, like living arrangements and all that. So yeah, there might be more updates as I work through it. Edit. I appreciate all the support and concern. To answer some questions, I am currently living with my parents, and they have been a great help. I have a stable job and plan to continue working as long as I can. The baby's due date is in a few months. I'm handling everything on my own and considering my options moving forward. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.